Today's reading is Whitehorn, an entry from the Monster Encyclopedia book series. A race of centaur that inhabit the cold region, distinguished by having large horns with tips that are stained white like snow. They have greater amounts of body hair compared to other members of the centaur family, and excel at walking in snow despite having a large, half-human, half-horse, or reindeer body. To protect themselves from the cold, they increase their body temperature by making their body flush. For that reason, their body and expressions are always faintly flushing, giving off a slightly feverish allure. Perhaps because they have a quiet disposition and relatively rational compared to other monsters, even though they're always making their body flush, to them it's a normal state, and they won't attack human men just because of that alone. They are kind and friendly towards humans, and when they spot a person about to pass through a snow-covered road or mountain, they'll let them ride on their back and carry them because the trip is dangerous, and I'm sure that's the only reason. In monster-friendly states where relations between humans and monsters are progressing, they may even be stationed at locations where danger is predicted, and they'll safely transport people through these snow-covered roads. Contrary to the low temperature, most races of monsters in snow countries dress in highly revealing manners, but the Whitehorns are a rare exemption to that and mostly clad themselves in thick, cold-proof clothes. Despite this, it seems that they would be just fine even in an almost naked state. But because their body will naturally flush more intensely in response to the cold, they wear thick clothes out of concern to prevent this so that they won't assault men needlessly. Nevertheless, in situations such as when suddenly hit by a surprise blizzard, it is necessary to produce more heat than normal to protect not only their own life, but the life of the person they're carrying on their back. So they may make their body flush more, so hotly that they become sexually excited. Additionally, when riding on their back, they will recommend to cling to their body as closely as possible, but when, with hot breath, they make that remark to a man, he may get the wrong idea, teasingly and thoroughly rubbing their body more so than necessary, and might even make their body flush hot and turn them on regardless of how cold it is. Even when aroused, they won't attack a man in the middle of a snow-covered road. However, as soon as they get off the road, they'll take him into their station, which also serves as an inn, by the way, and he'll end up having to deal with their hotly flushing body. When sexually aroused, everything heats up, including their body, breath, gaze, and even the language they use towards men. And when delirious with this fever, they are extremely passionate. Sex with them begins with an embrace so gentle and warm that it is as if it alone could restore a man whose body was frozen on a snow-covered road, and a kiss so deep that it seems enough to melt each other's lips. A man will experience the sensation of his body being warmed from the inside as if their tongues intertwine and their hot saliva mixes with his. The heat of their vagina blows that of their mouth out of the water, and while penetration will make a man feel like he's going to melt from the pleasure and heat, the feeling of being enveloped and warmed up by a Whitehorn's insides produces even greater pleasure than the physical stimulation itself. In this way, after spending a euphoric hot night that is seemingly enough to make them forget all about the cold, most men won't be able to forget about that night and will then choose to become a Whitehorn's husband and live with her.